Morning, Mary. How are you and Max doing?
We're doing great. I just got back from bringing Max and Vincent to school.
Fantastic. In this meeting, I just want to discuss what we're seeing in the assessment Max did last week and to address any concerns or questions you may have. So please feel free to stop me if you're unsure about anything. I'll also give you a brief summary of the therapy I'm looking to do with Max.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Last week in our assessment session, Max and I went through some words that had different sounds in it to see how he was saying them. It was noted that when he says the sound, he tends to say it as w or l. For example, one of the words we had was red, but Max produced it as wed. There are also some sounds that are longer, like or that Max replaced them with short sounds like, for example, he would say dipper instead of zipper.
Is this normal for his age? I don't hear his friends talk like that.
I understand your concern. While these errors are part of young children's language development, at Max's age of 6 years of age, these should have already been eliminated. For perspective, the errors we see in Max's speech usually occur at 3 to 5 years, and by 5, they should be gone. Max also has a tendency to replace the sound with other sounds like, but we shouldn't be too concerned about this yet, as it is age appropriate and usually developed by 8 to 8.5 years of age. What is a concern, however, is how he's saying his s sound. Usually when we say s, the air is coming out in the middle of our mouth. However, for Max, too much air goes out from the sides. You may have noticed it sounds a bit slushy.
Yes, I noticed that. Is that something to be very worried about?
Fortunately, yes. So unlike his other areas where he just produces it beyond the normal age range, this slushy sound is not part of the normal speech development at all.
I see. I've noticed when he says his own name, it just doesn't sound right. And sometimes it's hard for me to understand what he's trying to say. So I am worried.
I understand and I appreciate your very valid concern about how well you can understand maths. What we've observed in children is that by the age of 4 years, children should be 100% intelligible to family and even strangers. So I also share these worries and have noted this down in Max's form.
I see. Will this have a big impact on Max and his schoolwork?
From looking at his assessment results, yes, I'll be concerned on how this is impacting his progress at school. In school, at Max's age, is usually a time where some of the talking is replaced with learning to read and write. However, we know that children with difficulty speaking will also struggle with this. I understand that Max's teacher has already observed these difficulties in class, and I appreciate that this is a lot to take in, but please know that Max is still young and is still in the beginning stage of schooling. With therapy and support, I'm quite sure that he'll make good progress.
That's a relief to hear. So what should we do next?
I would like to begin therapy with Max as soon as you and Max are comfortable with it. The first thing I would like to work on is the sound, for the reason that we usually don't see this as part of the children developing speech. I believe it's also important for him to be able to say his name right, especially at school. What do you think?
Yes, I agree. That is very important.
Great. So now if everything is all clear, I'll give you a brief summary about what the therapy would be like for Max.
Thank you.
So what we're going to do in therapy is increase his awareness of this sound by making sure he can tell the difference between what he's saying in comparison to the correct way. To make it easier for Max to understand, we'll be calling his sound the old snake sound, and the one we want to learn is the new snake sound. After this, we'll work on the correct sound. We'll use a range of techniques and strategies to help Max. For example, this may be starting with the t sound and stretching it out into this sound, or using a straw to make sure the air is coming out from front instead of from sides. Some strategies may work better for him than others, so we can always adjust it as we go along.
That sounds great. Thank you.
No problems. I look forward to seeing you and Max soon.